Ethan was not like most children of his age. While other boys spent their afternoons playing sports or video games, Ethan preferred gazing at the stars. His small room was filled with posters of distant galaxies, planets, and spaceships. Every night he would lie on his back in the backyard, staring up at the endless sky, imagining what it would be like to travel among the stars. He lived near a remote desert research base, far from the noise and lights of the city. The desert, with its vast stretches of sand and quiet nights, had always been his favorite place to explore. It was peaceful, yet mysterious. Ethan liked mysteries, and he especially liked the idea that one day he might discover something no one else had ever seen. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned a deep shade of purple, Ethan noticed something unusual. A streak of light brighter than any star cut across the sky. It moved faster than any plane he had ever seen. He squinted, trying to understand what it was. The light grew bigger, brighter, and suddenly, with a loud roar that shook the ground, a spacecraft crashed into the desert not far from where he stood. Ethan's heart raced. His mind shouted both fear and excitement. Without thinking, he ran toward the crash site, kicking up clouds of sand with every step. As he approached, he could see smoke rising from the wreckage. Pieces of metal and strange glowing panels were scattered across the sand. From the wreckage, a figure began to emerge. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever imagined. The creature was enormous, easily twice the height of any human. Its body was covered in shiny armored scales that reflected the fading sunlight. Sharp claws extended from its hands, and its eyes glowed a deep amber, radiating both strength and pain. For a moment, Ethan froze. Every story he had read about aliens warned of danger, of monsters far stronger than humans. But as he looked into the creature's eyes, he saw something else: fear, hurt, and exhaustion. It was not a monster. It was an injured being, desperate for help. Taking a deep breath, Ethan stepped closer. I can help you," he said, his voice trembling slightly. The alien tilted its head, studying him. It made a low grumbling sound that seemed like a mixture of a growl and a purr. Ethan took another step, carefully reaching out his hand. The alien did not attack. Instead, it slowly lowered itself to the sand, revealing a deep wound on its side, where metal from the spacecraft had pierced its armor. Ethan's fear melted away, replaced by determination. He knew he had to do something. Using strips of cloth from his backpack, he carefully wrapped the wound, doing his best to stop the bleeding. The alien flinched at first, but soon relaxed, allowing him to continue. "Don't worry," Ethan whispered. "I won't let anyone hurt you." Hours passed as he worked, and the sun finally disappeared, leaving the desert bathed in moonlight. The alien's breathing became steadier, and it slowly opened its eyes fully, looking at Ethan with a mixture of curiosity and gratitude. "My name is Ethan," he said. "What's your name?" The alien hesitated, then spoke in a language that sounded like a combination of clicks and low growls. Ethan had no idea what it meant. But then, to his surprise, the alien began to mimic his words, slowly forming the sounds of his name. "Kelthar," it said, each syllable careful, deliberate. "Kelthar?" Ethan repeated. "I like that name. You can rest now." Over the next few days, Ethan took Kelthar to a hidden cave near the desert. He made a small shelter with blankets and supplies he had collected. Every day he brought water and food, things Kelthar could eat. Ethan learned that Kelthar's body was incredibly strong, but it also required energy in ways humans did not fully understand. As Kelthar recovered, Ethan discovered more about him. Kelthar came from a planet called Zetherian, a world far beyond the Milky Way. He was a warrior, part of the fiercest alien race in the galaxy. Stories told of their strength, their skill in battle, and their unbreakable will. Yet here he was, lying in a cave, trusting a young human boy. Ethan realized that Kelthar was not only powerful, but also intelligent. He could understand Ethan's gestures, his attempts to communicate, and even his emotions. Slowly, a friendship formed. Kelthar, who had once feared humans would betray him or harm him, began to understand that humans could be courageous and kind. But danger was never far away. The desert was a quiet place, but the world beyond was not. Government agents and scientists had noticed the crash. They were looking for Kelthar, believing that capturing him could unlock secrets of alien technology and power. Ethan knew that if they found Kelthar, it would be the end of their friendship. He had to protect him. One night, as Ethan and Kael'thar sat under the stars, Kael'thar spoke again in broken Terran words. "Ethan, brave human, help." His voice was low, almost a growl, but full of sincerity. Ethan smiled. "We're brothers now, Kael'thar. I'll protect you." From that moment, their bond was sealed. It was not blood that made them brothers, but trust, respect, and courage. Ethan had faced something no ordinary human had ever faced. Kael'thar had seen that even a small Terran boy could be strong in ways that mattered more than physical power. Days turned into nights, and nights into days. Together they trained, learned, and explored the desert. Kael'thar taught Ethan about survival, alien combat techniques, and the mysteries of Zetherian. Ethan, in turn, taught Kael'thar about humans, our resilience, our creativity, and our ability to love and protect. Ethan often marveled at Kael'thar's size and strength. Even lifting rocks or jumping over sand dunes seemed effortless for him. Yet despite this power, Kael'thar respected Ethan. He listened, learned, and began to see the value in human ingenuity. It was during one of these quiet nights that they noticed movement near the cave. Shadows flickered and a distant hum of vehicles approached. Ethan's heart pounded. The government agents had found them. Kael'thar's eyes glowed fiercely, and his claws scraped the stone floor. But Ethan held up his hand. "We don't fight them yet," he whispered. "We need to be smart." Together they devised a plan to mislead anyone who came looking for Kael'thar. Using sand, rocks, and clever traps, they made it seem like the desert was empty, a place where no alien could survive. For the first time, Kael'thar realized that human minds could be just as dangerous as alien strength. That night, as the desert wind blew and the stars shone above, Ethan and Kael'thar sat together. It was the beginning of an extraordinary friendship, one that would challenge the boundaries of courage, loyalty, and family. A young Terran boy and the galaxy's fiercest alien had found each other in a place where no one else would have believed it possible. Ethan looked up at the stars and whispered, "One day, Kael'thar, one day we'll show the galaxy what humans can do." Kael'thar's amber eyes glowed, reflecting both trust and determination. In that moment, they were no longer just a boy and an alien. They were brothers. And in the quiet desert, under the endless sky, an adventure was beginning that neither of them could have imagined. The desert was quiet in the early morning, the sun casting long shadows over the sand dunes. Ethan woke to the soft, steady breathing of Kael'thar, who was still resting after the previous night's alert. The young boy had grown accustomed to sharing his small cave shelter with an alien warrior. Every morning he felt a mix of excitement and responsibility. He was no longer just a boy. He was a guardian, a companion, and most surprisingly, a brother. Kael'thar stirred, stretching his massive arms. The light reflected off his armored scales, making him look even more formidable. Ethan watched him with a mix of awe and curiosity. He had learned so much about Kael'thar's species in just a few days. Their strength, their loyalty to their clan, and their relentless sense of honor. Yet there was still much he did not understand. "Good morning, brother," Ethan said with a grin. "You ready for today?" Kael'thar's eyes glowed faintly. "Ready, but must test." "You first," Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Test me? What do you mean?" Kael'thar stood, his massive frame casting a shadow over the cave entrance. "Humans. Clever, yes. But courage, true courage, must prove." His voice was deep, vibrating through the air like a low drumbeat. Ethan's heart raced. He had anticipated adventures, but Kael'thar's idea of a test was another level entirely. Still he nodded. "Okay, I'm ready." The first test was simple yet dangerous. Kael'thar led Ethan to a high cliff overlooking the desert. A narrow, rocky path wound down the side, sharp edges jutting out like the teeth of some giant beast. "You must climb down," Kael'thar said. "Observe, survive, without fear." Ethan swallowed hard. The path looked treacherous. One wrong step could send him tumbling into the sand below. But he could not show weakness. Kael'thar was watching, judging, learning whether Ethan was worthy of trust. Step by careful step, Ethan descended. He used his hands to balance, feeling the rough stone under his fingers. The wind whipped around him and he almost lost his footing more than once. Yet he focused, breathing steadily, reminding himself of the trust Kael'thar had placed in him and the promise he had made to protect his brother. Kael'thar followed, moving with grace and power, his massive form seemingly effortless on the cliffside. But he slowed to match Ethan's pace, silently showing respect for the boy's determination. When they reached the bottom safely, Kael'thar nodded. You survived. Clever, Kael'thar said. But next? Must think, act fast, under danger. The second test came moments later. Kael'thar led Ethan to a part of the desert filled with jagged rocks and hidden crevices. He tossed a small device to Ethan, a glowing orb that seemed alive with energy. Protect, must not touch ground, or danger finds you. Ethan realized the orb was delicate, but Kael'thar's challenge went deeper. The desert around them was filled with natural hazards, loose rocks, deep cracks, and sudden drops. It was a test not only of his dexterity, but of his ability to think under pressure. He held the orb carefully, moving through the terrain. At times, he had to jump across gaps, balance on narrow ledges, or duck under low-hanging rocks. Each step required focus and creativity. He remembered what Kael'thar had taught him about observing the environment and predicting danger. With patience and careful planning, he made it through, never dropping the orb. Kael'thar's amber eyes glowed brighter. Impressive. Human, patience. Focus. You learn fast. For the next test, Kael'thar introduced Ethan to a more unusual challenge. In a hidden part of the desert, there was a shallow canyon filled with small, flickering creatures. Tiny, insect-like beings that could bite painfully if disturbed. You must pass without harming life, Kael'thar said. Respect all, even small, creatures. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped carefully. The creatures buzzed around him, brushing against his skin, but he remained calm, moving deliberately, avoiding the ones on the ground. Kael'thar followed closely, silently observing how Ethan handled both fear and responsibility. When they reached the other side of the canyon unharmed, Kael'thar knelt, placing a massive clawed hand on Ethan's shoulder. Human respect, courage, heart. Strong, Ethan felt proud. These tests were more than physical. They measured his spirit, his intelligence, and his ability to remain calm under pressure. He was beginning to understand that Kael'thar valued traits that no one had ever noticed in him before. Humans were small and weak in comparison, but their hearts, their minds, and their creativity could make them strong allies, even brothers to the fiercest beings in the galaxy. The final test of the day came unexpectedly. As the sun began to set, Kael'thar paused, his eyes scanning the horizon. Ethan followed his gaze and saw movement, dust rising in the distance. Humans. Danger approach, Kael'thar said. Must hide, survive, plan. It was a group of government vehicles, agents clearly searching for signs of the crashed spacecraft. Ethan's stomach tightened. They had found them sooner than he had feared. But he did not panic. He had learned from Kael'thar that fear could be controlled, not ignored. Kael'thar led Ethan to a shallow canyon nearby. The walls were high enough to hide them from view. Together they quickly built makeshift camouflage using rocks, sand, and scraps of Kael'thar's wreckage. You think human clever? Kael'thar asked. Ethan nodded, positioning himself to observe the approaching agents. He studied their movements, noticing patterns in how they searched, the direction of their vehicles, and how they communicated. With a deep breath, he whispered a plan to Kael'thar. Using his knowledge of the desert and Kael'thar's strength, they created diversions, sand kicked up here, a reflective panel there, to make it appear the desert was empty. They led the agents away from their hiding place, one clever maneuver after another. Kael'thar watched silently, then gave a low, approving sound. Human. Mind strong, more than body. Cleverness. Survival. The agents eventually gave up and left, believing the area empty. Ethan exhaled, his heart still pounding. Kael'thar lowered himself beside him. You pass all tests, Kael'thar said. Trust, strong, bond. Deeper than blood, Ethan smiled. So, we're really brothers now. Kael'thar's massive hand rested on Ethan's shoulder, the weight almost comforting. Yes, brother. Not by blood, but by courage, respect, loyalty. That night they returned to their cave. The desert was quiet again, and the stars shone brightly above. Ethan could hardly believe how much had changed in just a few days. He had gone from being an ordinary Terran boy to someone who had earned the respect of one of the galaxy's fiercest warriors. Kael'thar settled down, watching Ethan as he spoke softly about Earth, its cities, rivers, mountains, and deserts. Ethan could see Kael'thar's eyes glinting with interest. The alien was learning about humans just as much as Ethan was learning about Kael'thar. You, humans. Strange, Kael'thar said finally, his voice softer now.
Small, fragile,
yet brave. Clever, hard, strong. Ethan felt proud but also humble. He realized that strength was not only measured in muscles or weapons, it was measured in loyalty, courage, and the willingness to face danger for someone else. That was a lesson he had learned from Kael'thar, and now Kael'thar was learning it from him. As they drifted to sleep under the stars, Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The desert had taught them both about trust, patience, and courage. But the galaxy was vast and their adventures were just beginning. Together, as brothers, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, no matter how fierce, no matter how unknown. And so, in the quiet desert, a bond stronger than fear or power was forged. Ethan and Kael'thar were no longer just a boy and an alien. They were brothers bound by trust, respect, and the promise to protect one another, ready to take on the universe one test at a time. The desert was calm, bathed in the soft glow of dawn. Ethan and Kael'thar had grown accustomed to life together, sharing their days between training, exploring, and preparing for any threats. But neither of them knew that the universe had a call waiting, a call that would change everything. One evening, as Ethan sat on a sand dune watching the sun set, Kael'thar approached him, his massive form casting a long shadow across the sand. "Human, signal." "From Zetherian," Kael'thar said, his deep voice carrying urgency. Ethan turned. "Zetherian? That's your home, right?" Kael'thar nodded. "Yes, danger. Invaders, need help, must return." Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. The galaxy was vast, and the thought of venturing beyond Earth was both exciting and terrifying. But he looked at Kael'thar, at the trust and respect in his glowing amber eyes, and knew he could not say no. "We'll go," Ethan said firmly. "I'll come with you." Kael'thar studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded, a faint glow of approval in his eyes. "Very well, human. Ready yourself." Over the next few hours, Kael'thar showed Ethan the spacecraft, partially repaired since the crash. It was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Sleek, metallic, and covered in alien symbols, it hummed with energy. Panels and controls lit up with soft, pulsing light, and Kael'thar guided Ethan through each one, explaining their functions in simple terms. "You must learn fast. Survive in space. Think, adapt," Kael'thar said. "Humans, clever, but fragile. Must understand." Ethan nodded, absorbing every detail. He pressed buttons, moved levers, and watched as the ship's systems responded to his actions. It was confusing at first, but he quickly realized that Kael'thar's instructions made sense. The alien's language was precise, and his gestures guided Ethan's hands. Slowly, he began to understand the ship, not just how to operate it, but how it thought, how it responded to danger, and how it could protect them. As night fell, they prepared for departure. The stars above seemed brighter than ever, as if the universe itself was welcoming them. Ethan's heart raced with excitement. Soon he would leave Earth, the planet he had always known, and journey across the stars with his alien brother. The launch was smooth despite Ethan's nervousness. The spacecraft lifted off the desert sands with a gentle hum that vibrated through Ethan's body. Below them, the Earth grew smaller, a blue and green marble surrounded by darkness. Kael'thar sat beside him, massive and calm, his hand resting on a console. "You ready, human?" Kael'thar asked. Ethan nodded. "I think so. I trust you." Kael'thar's amber eyes softened. "And I trust you. Together, we survive, we fight, we learn." As they traveled, Ethan began to notice the wonders of space. Stars of different colors, planets with rings, and distant galaxies stretched across the void. It was breathtaking. He realized how small Earth had seemed before, and yet how important humans could be. Even a small Terran boy could make a difference in the galaxy, just as he had shown Kael'thar in the desert. During the journey, Kael'thar taught Ethan more about his homeworld, Zetherian. Zetherian. Strong. Warriors. Honor, respect. Survival, life. Fight, Kael'thar said. He explained that their planet had been peaceful for centuries, but recently, a ruthless alien armada had attacked, threatening to conquer or destroy everything. Kael'thar had been sent on a mission to observe and, if possible, seek help. Now, with Ethan by his side, the mission had taken on a new dimension. Ethan listened intently, asking questions about the aliens, their ships, and their tactics. He learned quickly, absorbing knowledge like a sponge. Kelthar was impressed. Human, learn, fast, clever, like warrior. But the journey was not without challenges. The spacecraft encountered asteroid fields, sudden energy storms, and areas of unstable space. Each time, Kelthar guided Ethan, showing him how to navigate and respond. Ethan's heart pounded during these moments, but he remembered what Kelthar had taught him in the desert: stay calm, observe, and act. Using his quick thinking, he helped steer the ship through tight spaces, avoiding collisions and damage. "You, clever human, proud," Kelthar said after one particularly tense moment. Strength, not only body, mind, heart. Ethan felt a swell of pride. He was learning, growing, and proving that humans could be more than fragile observers. They could be strong, brave, and resourceful. Kelthar had not only taught him survival, but had shown him how to be a partner, a brother, and a warrior in his own way. After several days of travel, the spacecraft approached Zetherian. From space, the planet looked magnificent yet scarred. Large craters and damaged cities marked the surface, evidence of the alien armada's attacks. Fires burned in some areas, and massive ships hovered above the planet, keeping watch. Kelthar's expression darkened. "Zetherian, under siege. Many hurt. Must act quickly." Ethan nodded, gripping the console. "What do we do first?" Kelthar pointed to a hidden landing zone. "Quiet. Hidden. Must gather. Allies. Plan. Survive. Fight." The landing was tense. Enemy ships patrolled the skies, scanning for intruders. Ethan and Kelthar maneuvered carefully, using shadows and asteroid debris to remain unseen. When they finally touched down, the heat and energy of the planet hit them. Smoke rose from destroyed buildings, and the air carried the scent of fire and metal. Kelthar guided Ethan through the streets, showing him the best paths to avoid detection. Together, they reached a group of Zetherian warriors hiding in an underground bunker. These warriors were exhausted, scared, and distrustful of outsiders. But when Kelthar introduced Ethan as his brother, their attitudes changed. He, human, small, yet brave, clever, trustworthy, Kelthar said. "We must work together." Ethan felt nervous but determined. He knew he had a lot to prove, but he also knew that Kelthar trusted him completely. Using his knowledge of Earth strategies and Kelthar's warrior experience, they began to plan how to defend the planet and rescue trapped civilians. That night, as the underground bunker hummed with quiet activity, Ethan and Kelthar studied maps and communications. Ethan realized how much the galaxy needed humans, how small actions could make a big difference. Kelthar's respect for him grew, and he began to treat Ethan as an equal partner, not just a companion. "You, human, courage, unlike any seen by Zetherian," Kelthar said softly. "Prouder brother," Ethan smiled. "And I'm proud to be your brother, Kelthar. We'll save your planet together." As they prepared for the next day's mission, Ethan felt a mix of excitement and fear. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers, but also with opportunities to show what humans could do. He had already proven that humans could be brave and clever, and now, with Kelthar by his side, he would face the greatest challenge of all, helping a planet survive. Outside, the stars shone bright, reminding Ethan of the night he first met Kelthar in the desert. Back then, he had only dreamed of adventure. Now, he was living it, fighting alongside the galaxy's fiercest alien, learning, growing, and proving that humans were capable of more than anyone had imagined. As the night deepened, Ethan lay on a simple cot beside Kelthar. The alien's massive form loomed beside him, but there was a sense of calm. They were ready. Together they would face whatever came next, trusting in each other and the bond that had formed between a boy from Earth and the galaxy's fiercest warrior. And so, as Zetherian burned and danger loomed, two brothers, one human, one alien, prepared to face the stars, ready to fight, to learn, and to show the universe that courage, loyalty, and heart could transcend species. The skies above Zetherian were dark with the shadow of enemy ships. Fires burned across the surface and smoke spiraled into the clouds. The planet, once proud and strong, was scarred from relentless attacks. From their hidden bunker, Kelthar and Ethan watched the devastation. The young Terran boy's heart ached for the people and warriors of Zetherian, yet he knew fear would not help anyone. Courage and cleverness were needed now more than ever. Kelthar turned to Ethan, his amber eyes glowing with determination. Human, must fight. Survive, protect, all. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. I'm ready. Tell me what to do. The first challenge was getting out of the bunker without being seen. Enemy patrols moved through the ruined streets, scanning for any resistance. Kelthar guided Ethan, pointing out shadows, safe paths, and ways to avoid detection. Despite the danger, Ethan noticed patterns in the patrol's movements, how they turned, when they paused, and when they communicated with each other. His human curiosity and observation skills were invaluable. See, clever, mind, sharp, Kelthar said approvingly. Very good. Human. Together they reached the edge of the city where a group of Zetherian warriors had gathered. These warriors were exhausted, frightened, and angry. Many had lost friends, family, and homes. Kelthar addressed them in his booming voice, introducing Ethan as his brother. This human, small yet brave. Clever, trust him, Kelthar said. We fight. Together, survive. Protect. The warriors looked skeptical at first, unsure how a young human could help. But Ethan stepped forward, demonstrating a plan. Using the terrain, debris, and technology scavenged from fallen enemy ships, he outlined ways to set traps and ambushes. He suggested signals and diversion tactics that Kelthar's warriors had never considered. I know humans are small, but we can think fast, Ethan said. We can trick them, make them think we're weaker than we are, and protect more people. The warriors exchanged glances, then nodded. Kelthar clapped a massive hand on Ethan's shoulder. Yes, clever, mind, courage, brother. As the battle began, the enemy's ships swooped low, firing energy beams that tore through buildings. Explosions rocked the ground and smoke filled the air. Kelthar leaped into action, his immense strength and agility cutting through enemy drones. Ethan, smaller and less powerful, relied on his wit. He used debris to block sensors, redirected enemy fire, and created distractions that allowed Kelthar and the warriors to strike. One moment, an enemy drone flew straight toward them. Kelthar lunged, but Ethan noticed the drone had multiple sensors. Thinking quickly, he rolled a glowing metal panel onto the drone, causing it to misfire and crash. Kelthar grunted in approval. Very clever. Human, quick, life saved. Throughout the battle, Ethan's human creativity shone. He devised traps that confused the enemy, used mirrors and reflective surfaces to mislead sensors, and coordinated with the Zetherian warriors to outsmart the invaders. The warriors began to see humans not as fragile beings, but as valuable allies. Kelthar fought with ferocity, his claws and strength unmatched. But even he respected Ethan's role. Strength, not only muscle, mind, art, courage, survive, protect, Kelthar said aloud, almost to himself. As the fight continued, they reached the central city hub where the enemy had set up a temporary command center. Taking it would be risky, but it was the key to turning the tide. Kelthar prepared to charge in, but Ethan stopped him. Wait, Ethan said. We can do this smarter, not just with force. Watch what I do. Using his observations from earlier battles, Ethan noticed a pattern in the enemy's energy shields. They fluctuated at precise intervals. He directed Kelthar and the warriors to strike during the weakest moments, coordinating timing so they could disable the shields without unnecessary risk. The plan worked perfectly. The command center's defenses faltered, allowing Kelthar to burst through and scatter the remaining invaders. Ethan used the opportunity to disable communication systems, preventing reinforcements from arriving. The combination of human ingenuity and alien strength proved unstoppable. Once the battle at the command center was won, Kelthar and Ethan helped secure the city. The remaining invaders retreated, their morale shattered. Zetherian's warriors, exhausted but victorious, looked to Kelthar and Ethan with newfound respect. You, humans, clever, brave, heart, strong, Kelthar said, his voice filled with pride. Not weak, not small, important. Family. Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of accomplishment. He had done more than fight. He had shown that humans could be essential, even in a galaxy full of powerful beings. The battle was not over, but Zetherian now had hope. Citizens who had been hiding came out to see their planet's defenders. Children looked up at Ethan with wonder, seeing a human boy who had helped save their home. Adults whispered stories of the young Terran and the fiercest alien warrior working together. Kelthar placed a massive hand on Ethan's shoulder. Human, proud, brother, now, hero, of Zetherian. Ethan felt humbled. "I'm just a boy from Earth," he said softly. "I couldn't have done it without you, Kelthar." Kelthar's eyes glowed warmly. "No, you clever, brave. Think, act, survive. Teach us humans. Important. Powerful, not weak, like we thought." Over the next few days, they helped rebuild the city. Ethan continued to teach strategies and organize defenses, while Kelthar trained the Zetherian warriors, combining human creativity with alien strength. Together, they became a symbol of hope. Despite the victory, Ethan knew the galaxy was vast and dangerous. Other threats could appear at any time. But he also knew that humans, small as they seemed, could face the impossible with courage, intelligence, and heart. He had seen it firsthand in the desert, in space, and now on Zetherian. One evening, as the sun set over the rebuilding city, Kelthar and Ethan stood atop a high platform, looking out over the planet. Fires burned lower now, and the sound of rebuilding filled the air. Zetherian was alive again, stronger than before. Humans, important, more than we thought," Kelthar said, his voice soft yet filled with conviction. "You, small, fragile, yet clever, brave heart, strong family, brother." Ethan smiled, looking at the scarred but beautiful world below. "We're brothers, Kelthar, and together we can face anything." The alien warrior's eyes glowed with warmth and pride. "Yes, and brother, together, galaxy, ours, face, all." As night fell and stars appeared over Zetherian, Ethan felt a sense of belonging he had never known. He was not just a boy from Earth anymore. He was a brother, a strategist, a defender, and a hero in a galaxy that had once seemed so distant. The battle for Zetherian had proven something greater than strength. It had proven the power of trust, intelligence, and heart. It had shown that humans, even small and seemingly fragile, could rise to the challenges of the universe and inspire hope where it seemed lost. Kelthar and Ethan stood side by side, looking at the horizon. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of mysteries, but together they had proven that courage, loyalty, and cleverness could overcome even the fiercest enemies. And together as brothers, they were ready for whatever came next. The skies of Zetherian were calm for the first time in months. Fires that had burned through the cities were now only faint smoke trails in the distance. Citizens cautiously returned to their homes, rebuilding what had been lost. Streets that once echoed with the sounds of chaos now carried laughter, conversation, and the steady hum of life returning. Ethan and Kelthar stood on the top of a high tower overlooking the city. The alien warrior's massive form cast a long shadow in the evening sun, while Ethan stood beside him, small but confident. Together, they had defended Zetherian from an overwhelming threat, proving that courage and heart could rival even the fiercest strength. "You, humans, remarkable," Kelthar said, his deep voice carrying across the rooftop. "Brave, clever, heart, strong, inspire, all." Ethan smiled, brushing a smudge of dust from his clothes. "I never thought I'd do all this," he admitted. "Back on Earth, I just stared at the stars and dreamed. I never imagined I'd be here helping you save your world." Kelthar's amber eyes glimmered with pride. "Dreams, small, grow, courage, trust, action, humans, can rise, higher than thought." Their bond had grown deeper than either of them had imagined. The term brother no longer seemed a simple word. It represented trust, respect, loyalty, and courage that transcended species, planets, and galaxies. They had faced impossible odds together and survived, not just by strength but through intelligence, creativity, and unwavering heart. In the days that followed, Ethan was celebrated as a hero among the Zetherian people. Children ran to see him, fascinated by his human form, small and seemingly fragile, yet capable of feats even Kelthar admired. Adults whispered stories of the boy who had outsmarted the enemy and helped save their planet. Even the warriors, who had initially doubted him, now treated him as a trusted ally. But their work was not done. The galaxy was vast, and Zetherian's enemies could return at any time. Kelthar knew they needed to prepare for the future, not just celebrate the present. "We must train, prepare galaxy. Dangerous. Kelthar said, pacing beside Ethan. You, human, ready? Ethan nodded. I'm ready. We've come this far, and I'm not going back. I want to help, learn, and protect with you. Kelthar's hand rested gently on Ethan's shoulder. Yes, brother, together, strong, nothing too impossible. Training resumed. Kelthar taught Ethan advanced combat techniques, alien survival skills, and the ways of Zetharian strategy. Ethan learned quickly, using both his human intuition and the lessons Kelthar had shared from their adventures. He learned to anticipate danger, to stay calm under pressure, and to think creatively in situations where raw strength alone would fail. Ethan also shared his knowledge. Humans had unique problem-solving skills, ways of thinking that the Zetharian warriors had never considered. He taught them traps, diversion strategies, and rapid communication techniques that relied on creativity rather than brute force. Kelthar watched with pride as the warriors adapted and improved under Ethan's guidance. You, humans, clever, valuable, more than strength, mind, heart, courage, Kelthar said one evening as they watched the sunset. I, proud, brother, Zetharian, stronger, because of you. As the weeks passed, Zetharian flourished. Rebuilt cities rose from the ruins, trade resumed, and citizens worked together to ensure their planet would be stronger than before. Ethan and Kelthar became symbols of hope and unity, showing that even the smallest human could inspire courage across worlds. One night, as they stood atop a tower, Ethan looked at the stars. Kelthar, we've done something amazing here, but I feel like this is just the beginning. The galaxy is out there, full of challenges, and maybe even other worlds that need help. Kelthar nodded, his amber eyes reflecting the starlight. Yes, human, galaxy, vast, full of dangers, but together, we survive. Face, teach, inspire, all. A faint hum filled the air, the same signal that had called Kelthar to action in the first place. It was a distress signal, faint but urgent, coming from a distant sector. Kelthar turned to Ethan. Another mission. Human. Ready? Ethan smiled, excitement and determination shining in his eyes. Always. We've faced impossible odds before, and we can do it again, together. Kelthar's massive hand rested on Ethan's shoulder, and for a moment the universe seemed to pause. Two beings from different worlds, different species, different lives, stood united. They were brothers, not by blood, but by courage, heart, and loyalty. Their spacecraft, fully repaired and enhanced with lessons from the battle, waited below. Ethan and Kelthar boarded, the engines humming as they prepared to leave Zetharian behind and venture into the unknown. Citizens watched as the boy from Earth and the fiercest warrior of Zetharian lifted off into the stars, a symbol of hope and unity for all who saw them. As the planet shrank below them, Ethan thought of home. He missed Earth, his family, and the quiet nights under the stars. But he knew he had found a new home among the stars, a place where humans were respected, valued, and capable of greatness beyond imagination. Brother human, proud, together always, Kelthar said, breaking Ethan's thoughts. Ethan grinned. Yes, Kelthar. Always together. Their journey continued, traveling from star system to star system, facing new dangers, and helping those in need. With each mission, Ethan's human ingenuity combined with Kelthar's strength and experience created solutions that no one else could imagine. They rescued planets, outsmarted enemies, and inspired countless beings across the galaxy. Yet, no matter how far they traveled, no matter how many worlds they touched, the bond between them remained the center of their strength. Kelthar trusted Ethan with his life, and Ethan trusted Kelthar with his. They were brothers in every sense that mattered. One evening, as they rested aboard their ship, Ethan looked out at the endless expanse of stars. Kelthar, do you think humans are really ready for this galaxy? Kelthar's eyes glowed softly, reflecting both pride and certainty. Yes, human, you, humans, small, fragile, but clever, brave, heart, strong, more than we ever imagined. Ready. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth he had never known. He had started as a curious boy staring at the stars. Now he was a symbol of hope, courage, and possibility, proving that humans could rise above their limitations and inspire the galaxy. As they soared past stars, planets, and nebulas, Ethan and Kael'thar prepared for the adventures ahead. The universe was vast, filled with challenges, mysteries, and threats, but they faced it together, brothers, heroes, and beacons of hope. The galaxy, once distant and unknown, had become a place where humans were no longer small or weak. Through courage, intelligence, and heart, they could achieve greatness and inspire even the fiercest warriors. And Ethan, the young Terran boy, had shown the universe that even one human could make a difference, especially when standing beside a brother from the stars. And so, with the stars stretching endlessly before them, Ethan and Kael'thar journeyed on, ready to face whatever the galaxy had in store. Their story, a tale of trust, courage, and the bond between worlds, was only just beginning. But one thing was certain: together, they could overcome anything.